Hello, and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we show you one cool thing, which we are testing out here in the PC Mag Labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Victoria's Song. If you are watching us live on Facebook, please comment, ask questions about anything going on in the PC Mag Labs during this fabulous holiday season. We will try to answer your questions. If you are watching us later on YouTube, please like and subscribe wherever those buttons are on your screen. And consider coming over to Facebook at 10 a.m. Eastern on weekdays so that you too can participate in the discussion. For today's One Cool Thing, we have one cool piece of bling, don't we?
Yeah, one cool bling. That's what we should name my segments of the show when I come on with these wearables. This is the Michael Kors Access Sofie.
Okay, so who is Sofie and why are we accessing her?
Sofie is this, and we are accessing her because we are addicted to social media and notifications, and we can't have one cool day without things buzzing.
Can Sofie tweet?
Sofie can't tweet. Sofie runs on Android Wear, Sasha.
Okay. So the Michael Kors Access Sofie is an Android Wear smartwatch. Now, this kind of blew my mind when I first heard about this because I thought Android Wear was kind of a zombie OS.
It is sort of a zombie OS from like the standpoint of how much or how not at all Google is supporting it as an OS, but there are plenty of non-Apple, non-Samsung smartwatch makers who are still opting to use it because it's a lot cheaper and a lot more time efficient than actually developing their own OS.
Okay, so let's start by talking about, because this is primarily a piece of jewelry, I think.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about the design, the market, the price.
So, you know, as a woman, I think I can speak about woman things, but looking for a female-friendly smartwatch is like finding a unicorn. It's supposed to be beautiful and elegant, but it's also fictional because it's really hard to find one that fits small, petite-sized wrists. I have a pretty normal-sized wrist for a lady, but as you can see, this is still kind of like, this is after it's already been adjusted to fit my particular, like, width of wrist. So, you know, they can be, this is pretty slim for smartwatches, but sometimes they're really chunky, sometimes they're really beefy, and they're not always like of a style that women can wear confidently in business situations or formal situations.
Now, what about the 38mm Apple Watch?
So the Apple Watch is one of the big exceptions. The Apple Watch is very design forward. It's got a very mod look to it. You can have interchangeable straps, so you can dress it up, you can dress it down. It can look hideous, like I hate those perforated exercise bands that are really neon, so it can look hideous if you want it. But I also have like a really nice leather strap for my Apple Watch, so it's very versatile in that sense. It's extremely fashionable. This is a whole other level of bling, though. Like, it comes in 3 colors: gold, silver, and rose gold. We have the rose gold here. You can see it has a, and I learned this word, a pavé bezel.
So now this is neither. Now, is this actual gold? Are these actual gems in any way?
I'm not entirely sure. But I do know it costs $350.
So probably not.
But it looks the part, which is like important. One thing to note, like many watches, like non-smartwatches that have this kind of link band, you are going to have to go to a watch shop or a Michael Kors shop to get it sized directly to your wrist. So that's not necessarily like a major hurdle if you're buying a watch like this that isn't smart. But a lot of smartwatches, you don't have to do that, so it is an extra hurdle that you have to take care of.
So now let's talk about the functionality. What does this watch do? I guess there's kind of two parts of the question there. One is, what does it do? And the second is, does it do anything different from any other Android Wear watch?
So what this watch does well is that it gives you a lot of customizable watch faces that are a lot prettier than some of the standard smartwatch watch faces that you get. And you know, that's because it's Michael Kors. They're really trying to emphasize the style here. What you can do, and like what I've done with this particular watch face, is that you can go to your Instagram or your Facebook and take pictures that you've already taken from your account and just use them as a watch face. So this particular one is me at a Yayoi Kusama Infinity Mirror exhibit. So it looks pretty cool. There's a bunch of other Michael Kors specific watch faces that I have to admit are quite attractive compared. And you can save them for day and night profiles. And that's actually the main thing that this watch does differently. Otherwise, it's like any other Android watch. It comes with the default apps like Google Fit and Calendar and all those sorts of things for notifications. So you'll get all of your notifications. But if you're looking for it to do fitness tracking or anything like that, this is not the watch for you. There's no continuous heart rate monitor. There is a gyroscope and accelerometer for tracking, but I found during testing that the strap came off a bunch of times.
Whoa!
And when you have a watch like this, let's face it, you're not going to be taking it to the gym and sweating all over it. Because like I just feel like if you're as clumsy as I am, you're just going to be going hard one day and then like a pave set whatever stone this is just going to fly out, and then you're just going to be like, oh no, my beautiful watch, it's all covered in sweat and gross. So
is this water resistant at all?
it is water resistant, IP67, which means, you know, if you're washing your hands or doing the dishes, it should be fine. Again, I wouldn't take this into the shower, mainly because I experienced that this thing falls off. When I took off my jacket, it fell off. When I was just walking around, it would fall off random times. So it's not something that I would want hitting the bottom of my shower. We have a question.
Can we call Michael Kors himself?
Can we call Michael Kors and what?
I was going to say, what do you want to call Michael Kors?
No, through the watch.
No, we cannot call Michael Kors through the watch. This does not have LTE capability.
Yeah, but if you're receiving a call on your phone, and it's an Android phone, and I think that's one thing we need to make clear. This is for Android phones, not iPhones.
You can use it with an iPhone, but anytime I find that you use an Android Wear watch with an iPhone, you're going to have a mixed bags in terms of like just how well it works. You have to keep, on an iPhone, you have to keep the Android Wear app open at all times in order to receive notifications. If you, at any point you decide you want to like free up your processor space or whatever and close that app, you're just not going to get any of your notifications
If
through.
you have an iPhone, just get an Apple Watch.
100%. If you want a smartwatch and you have an iPhone, there is no reason to get anything other than an Apple Watch. It just is it's the best experience that you're going to have.
But so what I was going to say is if you have an Android phone and you receive a call, that'll pop up here. And then what can you do? Is there a microphone? Is there a speaker? Or is it just...
There is a microphone right here. It does also have Google Assistant, so you can ask Google Assistant things and things will pop up, and that's fine. It's just really more of a notification hub that you're getting here. And to be quite frank, you're really paying for the brand name and style with the Sofie.
Now, doesn't Michael Kors have a whole bunch of different smartwatches?
They do. They actually have a more male-focused brand that is exactly the same thing as the Sofie in terms of look and style, except it's called the Grayson. It does away with the bling, so it's a little more subtle. And it's slightly bigger and has a slightly better battery than the Sofie does.
Oh, what's the battery life here?
So I got really mixed results with battery life. You're basically gonna have to charge it every day. It's not gonna be able to do more than 24 hours. I got somewhere generally between 8 and 16. And that's pretty varying, and it takes a while to charge. So that's also disappointing, especially if you want any level of fitness, whatever.
Yeah. Let's take another question.
In terms of watches, do you think that now the standard watch is going to be a smartwatch? So it's not going to be as great as, let's just say, an Apple Watch, but a standard watch would now just have things like step tracker, health implications.
So there's like a really interesting category. Well, I find it interesting, and it's the hybrid analog category. So they're not as expensive as like full touchscreen, color, whatever smartwatches, but you can get your notifications on them, and they look I think they look more stylish because they look like the old analog watches. Fossil has a bunch of them, I think. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of small, like the Weavings watches, no longer Weavings, now Nokia. Their fitness trackers have sort of this analog hybrid look to them. Garmin just came out with one as well. They look stylish, they look pretty, but you still get all of your notifications on them. And they're better at tracking because they don't have this battery guzzling screen.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I feel has happened with watches is that watches are like digital cameras and music players, in that it's a functionality where the lower end of that market has essentially disappeared and been absorbed into the smartphone. And no one is buying cheap watches or music players or digital cameras anymore. Where you're seeing a lot of growth all of a sudden in all of those areas is in what I think of as the almost like analog retro hobbyist world, where there are watch guys. I know this because my brother is a watch guy. My brother is an investor in a watch company. He's that much of a watch guy. And they have networks of watch guy YouTube channels and of watch guy blogs, and they're like powerfully, deeply in love with purely analog watches. And you see this in music with the renaissance of vinyl, and you see this in cameras with the growth of DSLRs and higher end digital cameras. I mean, you could say maybe there's a little bit of a film renaissance, but I don't think really, but we can debate that with Jim when he comes on. But just in general, when you say, is the ordinary watch a smartwatch, I think what we need to acknowledge is that the ordinary watch, as we knew it 20 years ago, has gone away.
Yeah.
That the days when everyone wore a watch, we aren't in those days anymore.
Yeah, and it's like another really interesting story because my roommate was looking for a watch that she wanted to wear, something to tell the time that wasn't her phone, and then she found it was actually much more cost effective to get a Fitbit. Because not only did it tell watch times just for the price and what's available on the market, it also would track all of her metrics and
maybe
all that
the
sort of
ordinary
stuff.
watch is a Fitbit now.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be. The ordinary watch is a fitness tracker. You heard it here.
Okay. Now, so we were talking a little bit before the show about smartwatches for women, and so this is an attempt at one. The 38mm Apple Watch is a good one, but you were recommending another one that I could pull up on the screen here, right?
Yeah.
Why the Gear Sport?
So the Gear Sport, especially for someone like me, it's slim enough. It's about, I think, slightly slimmer than this. It's very comfortable to wear, and if you're an Android user, it's just a better experience in terms of getting what if your notifications and also tracking your fitness. The bands are changeable. It's a subtle watch. I think you also like the Gear bezel navigation.
Yeah, I
that
love
happens with those watches.
I really like my Gear S2. It's a pity because my Gear S2's battery is starting to die.
Oh no!
And so I've worn it for long enough, and I've recharged it enough times that I'm starting to see visibly less battery life than I did when I first wore it.
The Gear Sport also has better battery life than this does. It's just very comfortable to wear. I don't have to worry about it flying off my wrist like I did with this one. And you're not going to be bankrupted by buying different watch strap accessories like you might with this. Like the leather strap for this, I think actually costs $60. So $60 on top of a $350 watch just to switch out these things. You're looking at over $400 just to spend on that. And the Gear Sport is $300, does more. Comes with like pay functions, so there you go.
Is the Gear Sport a full Tizen experience?
It is a full Tizen experience.
Oh wow, okay. And that means it has limited but extant apps. Like it has apps, it has a few apps, but at least they're okay apps.
Yeah, and if you have a Samsung phone, again, like I can't stress enough the synergy between like Samsung phones and Samsung smartwatches and iPhones and Apple smartwatches. Like it sounds like a marketing gimmick or whatever, but it really does make the experience a lot more seamless. You don't really have to think about it, and it's, I think, in terms of experience for the casual average person who does not want to spend their entire lives on their phones just customizing everything how it's going to work, it's worth paying a little extra just to have that ease of use.
Though I do wear a Gear S2 in my daily life, and one day I was in a car with my daughter and my niece, and I was talking to my sister who was in the front seat. And my daughter kind of, grabbed my arm in the way kids do, and I was like, oh, this is cute. And when we got out of the car, I realized that everything on my watch was now in Comic Sans. And the watch face had been turned into pulsing, colorful blobs.
Oh, nice.
So,
wonderful.
Yeah, so that was going on while I wasn't looking at my wrist.
Oh, well.
But yeah, it's highly configurable. The Samsung watches are highly configurable. You can make the watch faces look the way you want.
Yeah.
Or the way your niece wants. Yeah.
So like that is one thing about this. If you are a high fashion model who is blinging all the time, this is great, but I occasionally wear sweats and jeans. So I will say that while this is a beautiful watch to look at, it's quite styling. It's not what I would call the most versatile watch. You do have to be one of those models in the Michael Kors ads who just like, you know, they look like they just like rolled out of bed looking fabulous every single day and everything is put together. Yeah, no. If you're a hot mess like me, this is not gonna work for every situation.
Okay, any more questions out there? Nope. Okay, great. So the Michael Kors Access Sofie only gets 2.5 stars because, well, you've heard the story by now. It costs $350. For Android users, we recommend the Samsung Gear Sport instead. For iPhone users, we recommend the 38mm Apple Watch instead.
Without LTE.
Yeah, without LTE. Thank you all for watching. Once again, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, we will see you again at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow.